Well, good morning, everyone. The defense put out the bridge guy video, and it's interesting that they were the ones that put it out, probably against Judge Gold's wishes, because he doesn't want to put out any of the evidence in the case. But it's really been an eye opener to have that video, not for the reasons that other people think. Other people are kind of zeroed in on what the girls were saying, but for me, um, the real um, the real eye opener is the fact that we can prove that the bridge guy was 6 feet tall, and we didn't have this full this full distance right here before. That was cut out of the video that we had before. But now we can easily measure bridge guy's height compared to this distance right here. And we could even measure bridge guy's height compared to this platform 6, because he's standing nearly at the edge of platform 6. And so now we could easily find his height knowing these dimensions. Now that's the problem. Is of all the people that have gone and walked on the bridge, no one took the time to take these measurements. Now I will give Steve credit where credit's due. He brought a tape measure out, and he at least measured the height of this rail right here, this cross tie, and he measured it at 4 inches. And so we do know that, and he also measured the distance from here to the other end at 10 feet. So at least someone did that for us. So we know those dimensions, but what we don't know, what we really need to know, is the distance between this cross tie here to this cross tie here. And that information I've had a really hard time trying to find, and I still haven't found it. But what I was able to do is to go to historical images of the Monon High Bridge, and at least maybe hopefully have found that information here. And what this tells me is a couple of things. We know that railroad, the distance between the width from here to here is 4 foot 8.5 inches. So with that information, 4 foot 8.5, we can kind of calculate this. The other thing we can do to find that dimension, because nobody will go out and actually measure it for us yet, is we can look at the sleepers, these railroad ties, and they come in 3 lengths historically. 8 feet, 8.5, and 9. And so I'm making an assumption here that these are 8-footers. And 8.5 are a little more common, but 8 is plenty common. They sell 8-footers at Home Depot, so they're somewhat common. And if you look at these 8 feet ties compared to the inside of these cross ties, they appear to line up pretty close. And the other way I kind of feel confident it's somewhat close to 8 feet is we know that this is 4 feet 8.5, and you compare this distance to this distance, and it comes real close to 8 feet. So I'm confident it's at least It's at least like 7 feet minimum. 7 feet 8 inches is that's the smallest it can be. Um, but I think it's closer to 8 feet, if not right on 8 feet. Um, so I I can't verify that. I'm um, just doing the best I can with a historical image to, which is sad. But given that fact that let's say this is 8 feet, if this is 8 feet, now keep in mind this is the shadow over here, and it's making about a 45-degree angle. This shadow, uh, and I know that from other shadows. But so to get a point over here, you have to go about halfway up. Is the bottom of the cross tie. So if you're wanting to measure from here to here to this cross tie, and that's how you would determine bridge guy's height. Is you need to physically get a piece of paper out, um, and mark on the paper how wide that distance is, and then take that same piece of paper and mark how tall bridge guy is. And with this image, you can see his feet are pretty much together, and so it's pretty easy to measure his height. And then if you do know, or at least suspect, that this is 8 feet or 96 inches, so the math is fairly simple. So to do the calculation, you would whatever you came up with as his height in inches. Say you physically measured on a piece of paper 4 inches, and then you got this height. Let's say physically you measured 6 inches. So it's pretty simple. I mean, any ninth grader could do this algebra. It's 4 inches divided by 6 inches equals x divided by 8 feet or 96 inches. And so x will be bridge guy's height. And if you do this calculation, using 8 feet, he's at least 6 feet tall. And so do it yourself. I mean, don't take my word for it. I'm an engineer, so math comes easy to me, but not everybody understands how to do ratios. And so that's why I'm explaining how to do it, because I want you to do it for yourself. And you'll see he's at least 6 feet if this distance is 8 feet. Now let's say that's not quite 8 feet. Let's say it's 7 foot 8 feet. Bridge guy's height at a minimum would be then 5 feet 10 inches. So that's the smallest bridge guy could be, is 5'10". I know it's Ron Logan, so I know he's over 6 feet. But I'm showing you how to do the calculation yourself. So I know a lot of people will think that that I'm not I'm biased or whatever, but that's why I want you to do it for yourself, and hopefully we'll find out exact dimensions at some point between these cross ties, and that will kind of put it to rest. But yeah, there's absolutely no way the bridge guy can be Richard Allen. He's not 5'4". There's physically, it's an impossibility. And so it took the defense to release this video because the prosecution and Judge Gold surely doesn't want this information out because it destroys their whole case. And Unified Command, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of respect for those people because they could have done this. They must not know that math exists because they could have done this very easily and determined his height. You didn't need to spend $10,000 to do this. You could just get your ninth grade nephew and have him do this calculation for you, and then they would have realized it can't be Richard Allen. So, all right, next topic. The burn pile. Ron Logan told Reese Davis that he burned his gloves and his fanny pack and he said a bag, but I know he meant his fanny pack. His boot, he had some hiking boots on, and other clothes, his pants, I'm sure. And so I know that Ron Logan burned this stuff. And so what I did is I went to Google Earth and I went to 2017. And this is kind of fortunate that this image was taken 2 months after the murders. And so I knew that either he burned them at his son's house or somewhere on his property. Well, I looked at his son's house and there's no burn pits that I can see there. But there appears to be one here. And this is what I think appears to be a burn pit. I could be wrong. It could be something else. But this is Ron Logan's house. He had seen the girls get dropped off from this upstairs window right here. And excuse me. And so, I mean, this is the only thing that I could see on his property that appears to be a burn pile. Now, let's go back to 2014, and you can see there's some kind of black. I don't know what that is. You can see he's got a path. Ron Logan's got a path that kind of goes out to this, whatever it is. He occasionally goes out there, and I don't know if it's a burn pit. I don't know what it is. So then we fast forward to 2017. Appears to be ashes all around here, and there's rumors that Ron had talked about having a hog roast, and maybe I don't know if that has anything to do with his excuse of burning things. Ron, what were you burning out there? Oh well, we had a hog roast. I don't know. But if you fast forward to 2018, a year later, then it looks very different again. We've got this, whatever this black thing is in the middle. All those ashes appear to be gone. We've still got this path going out there. But 2017, 2 months after the murders, it appears very different than 2014 or 2018. So that's would be my best guess of where you would find remnants of the things that he burned, if even then, because Ron was worried about law enforcement finding remnants, and so he's probably gotten rid of all of them. Okay, next topic has to do with Reese Davis. So Reese Davis recently did an interview and from jail, and he said, quote, that I'm sorry, he said that he didn't think his buddies existed when referring to Ron Logan. When Ron Logan was talking about these two buddies that helped him kill the girls, Reese Davis said he didn't think his buddies existed. So his instincts were that Ron had made them up. That was an afterthought. When after he confessed, he realized, put all this on himself. And so as an afterthought, Ron Logan kind of said, hey, well, there was a couple other guys involved too. And so Reese's instincts, I think, were correct, that there were no other buddies that helped Ron Logan kill the girls. And even Barbara McDonald would corroborate that, because she's always said that Ron would consider that weak to have to do that with someone else. And so Ron Logan did not have buddies, and certainly Keegan wasn't involved. So before Keegan's lies got Reese kind of messed up on his facts, I think, and that's why I'd love to see the original 2017 video of Reese Davis, because everything he says at that point is true. It would have come from Ron Logan directly. And so one thing that Ron told him is that he took the batteries out of his phone. Now, this is kind of funny that Slick Nick changed that to say that Ron Logan had said he took the batteries out of Libby's phone, or misunderstood. But Reese Davis confirmed it in this recent interview, that no, Ron Logan had said that he took the batteries out of his own phone, out of his flip phone. And this is how easy it is to take. Ron Logan, excuse me, had this Alcatel TCL flip phone. And this is how easy it is to take the battery out.
Here, you can kind of get in with your fingernail. And I'm just going to pry up on that area. And as you can see, the back starts popping off. You have to use a little bit of force here. Be careful, you don't want to go just ripping things. But this basically pops off just like that. You can see there's quite a few tabs around the sides there. Put that off over here. And now we have access to the battery. So to remove the battery, obviously you can just come in here and we can.
All right. So it's pretty simple to remove the battery from Ron's phone. And I know he had this Alcatel phone because I've studied the image of where he's got his flip phone, and they zoomed in on him. Another thing that Reese said was that Ron Logan talked about losing weight constantly. He said every day he would talk about, do I look thinner? Because he was focused on changing his looks because he didn't want to look like the bridge guy. In fact, I've pointed this out before. He stopped wearing his hat, the bridge guy's hat. He stopped wearing blue jackets, and really, he got a haircut immediately after the murders. Really, once the bridge guy images came out, he was desperate to change up how he looked, and that included losing weight. And when he was in jail, he was really obsessed over the case, according to Reese. over the Delphi murders case, and he was obsessed with changing his appearance. And so he knew that this was obviously him on the bridge. A lot of people knew that it was him. His own cousin said, "Yeah, that's Ron." His old girlfriend, well, a recent girlfriend even said, "Yeah, that's Ron." And certainly, Connie Dillman said that's not only his image, but it's his voice as well. So everyone that knew Ron knew that that was him, and it was obvious to many of us that it was him. Everything, and the FBI knew that his build was consistent. His voice was not inconsistent with Ron Logan. And so, but Slick Nick, being a family friend, protected Ron Logan. And people in Unified Command were dumb enough to think that an old guy can't commit murder, and so they just out of ignorance, but they inadvertently gave Ron Logan a pass as well. So once Keegan started talking with Reese Davis, he started asking him a lot of questions. So at first, Keegan was wise enough to not just throw out lies. He at least got information from Reese of what Ron had said, and then he altered it slightly and injected his own stories into it. So anything that is post Reese Davis is kind of messed up. It's all fabricated. Initially, Ron said he saw the girls from his house, but Keegan said they saw him when they're out walking around. That he and Ron. So Keegan talked about the handcuffs. Now, if it came from Keegan and not Ron, I don't believe it. And so I'm not so sure about the handcuff story. And another thing is, now it's possible that Ron Logan had handcuffs. They would be in his back pocket because they're not. I don't see them anywhere on him. The outline of them anyway. You can see the knife. I mean, this isn't a great image of the knife. The knife shines after he steps with this leg. When he steps forward, then the sun shines on the knife and you see it really well. But interestingly, in this image, you can kind of see the outline of the gun in his fanny pack, which I'd never really seen before. But no handcuffs. He's got a water bottle in this pocket. He's got binoculars in this pocket. His hand is kind of in this pocket. And you can see this is a glove that's yellow. It's not skin toned. He's wearing a glove, and even Ron Logan said he burned gloves. So so if he had handcuffs, they would be in his back pockets, because there's just no. You can see his cell phone in other images in this pocket, the outline of it, but no outline of handcuffs anywhere. So I think that part was made up. Now, when the story of Go Get Grandma is told, that does make sense. So I don't know. I don't have enough information to know if the whole handcuffs story is true or not. But unfortunately, anything that Keegan interjected is just lies and has kind of mixed up the truth. And so I think Reese's original instincts that these buddies of Ron Logan's were made up is true. Well, I know it's true. I know Ron did this himself alone. And but I um, I would love to have the original Reese Davis interview, get to watch it, because then I know the story hasn't been tainted with Keegan's lies. Um, Now, interestingly, Slick Nick said that interview, quote unquote, is not in my possession, which tells me that it exists somewhere. Um, but he, uh, Nick, basically sent it somewhere or destroyed it, deleted it. Um, and that's why he could say that it's no longer in his possession. But um, but I'm hoping it still exists and didn't get deleted, because keep in mind, this was not part of the original interviews that got deleted. This was a separate interview, and it should still exist. But that's Slick Nick's way of trying to hide the truth, because when that comes out, everyone will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is Ron Logan. And certainly today, if you wanted, you could find for yourself, take this mark, follow the line across, and find Bridge Guy's height yourself. Um, and so do it. Convince yourself. Don't listen to me or anyone else. Um, uh, you know, you should know for yourself that this guy is 6 feet tall. All right. Thank you for your time.